Appreciate you being here. I want to make sure I had some good game notes for you guys and some relative information as it relates to our upcoming opponent. It was good to assess our film of our first game and make note of things that we have improved upon and things that we need to improve upon. Overall, played a significant amount of guys. When we were good, we were really good. And in other areas, when we started off slow and slumped a little bit, it was good to see our team get things corrected. But we want to be a team that starts fast and finishes strong. Pleased with some efforts. At the same time, just always looking, you have to almost set a standard that's almost unattainable when it relates to effort, so that our team understands that we have to chase an elite level of performance and effort and execution in our quest to be a better football team. But a lot of really positive things, some really good things, and looking to build upon this week when we play Portland State here at Autzen.
Questions right here on the left, Eric? I was wondering if you have any updates on Cam and some of the guys that were injured on Saturday and kind of what their availability.
Sure, Cam had a significant injury. He broke a bone in his leg, so he'll be out for the remainder of the season. He'll be sorely missed, not only as a player but as a teammate. These guys certainly love him. The hospital was a packed place for him in support of him by his teammates and coaches, so he'll be missed. Lamar and Diamador are being checked out. They had some pretty strong collisions, so our protocol for that is very strict and regimented, and we'll get results on that at some point in time today and let you know as soon as we do.
Let's go Steve next on the right.
Following up on Cam, we saw Dylan got some time out there. You like the depth there. It takes one away, but you got Breland. Where do you see kind of Kano and Spencer Webb and Bay and the guys filling in now for Cam?
All those guys, we planned on playing them all. And I know that we saw, Jake's always been a really good player for us, really has improved in the run game, and he's looking to get even better. Kano got in there and made a nice play, on the third down conversion. And Ryan Bay is a guy that cannot be overlooked. He had a tremendous training camp, maybe one of our best blockers. Okay, strong, physical, does a great job catching the football, understands all the formations out of any personnel grouping. So he gives a lot of flexibility. Ryan Bay is going to play. Ryan Bay is going to be a factor for us. And we know about the other guys. Spencer Webb has been coming along really well. He's still developing as a blocker, but we feel that he could really help us out in the passing game. So he's certainly on the table as well as a potential factor in the offense.
Coach, I think a lot of people were surprised by Tony Brooks James only receiving 5 carries in the game. Is that something? How do you plan on using the distribution between the running backs moving forward, and will it change once you get into Pac-12 play?
Well, he's our starter, and he started the game, and he made some nice plays, and we're trying to get the ball to everybody. We're trying to make sure that a lot of guys had an opportunity to touch the ball, be part of the game plan. And then it seemed we built a comfortable lead, and we were trying to hold certain guys out before we felt we had to finish the game strong. When we didn't score, they did, and then activated the first offensive line and Justin Herbert again. And we had held Tony out then, figuring the game was in good hands. But no, he'll be a guy that totes the ball more than just that. We do feel good about the fact that a lot of guys did touch the ball because those guys have earned playing time. And want to keep doing that as much as we can. But as it relates to winning, it's going to be as it relates to how can we be most productive, how can we be most successful on Saturdays, and we do believe that'll entail Tony touching the ball more.
All right, Steve again.
Mario, question, then a follow-up. First off, can you take us through kind of with you and Marcus, what the game planning during the week, how much you guys do, and then on Saturday, how did it go kind of the first time I know you guys did the bowl game, but the first time kind of prepared, how kind of the game day interaction went with you guys kind of leading up at the game, and then one follow-up?
Yeah, Marcus is a tremendous professional. I think oftentimes it's overlooked the job that he did last year, especially in the passing aspect of Justin Herbert's development and our offense in general. There were a lot of concepts and ideas brought to the table that really showed up in the third down and on red zone when we started playing really good football before Justin's injury. And then last year I was, the run game coordinator and always, of course had the major role in determining what we do in the run game and what we call and everything else, and had some play calling opportunities last year as a run game coordinator. Marcus, Coach Mastro, Coach Mirabal, Coach Johnson, all those guys, our analysts, those guys, Gilbertson and Langsdorf, our GAs, Cody Woodle, Jonathan Krause, they're all involved in game plan. And I'm always going to be involved with the offensive side, especially as it relates to protections, to making sure they're airtight, and our run game. All right, that's the area that I've always felt most comfortable in and that I really enjoy. And I feel that I could be most helpful to our team by being that and helping out in that. Marcus called the game on Saturday, felt that his calls were really good calls. We didn't convert on some things, didn't execute on others, but overall thought that from a game plan standpoint, the things that we felt were going to be open or we're going to have leverage and advantages on in the run game were there, and we called them. I got involved in calling maybe a handful of runs, and I, you know what, is this the time where you say, hey, I called all the good plays and he called? No. Marcus called the game, and you know, I always throw in some input and didn't feel the need to override anything, really trust him with a plan. Called a couple things that were productive for us, but, you know, again, hats off to him. He did a good job. Go ahead. You got one?
Sorry, Steve.
Go ahead.
You asked two. I thought that was the fall.
Can you take us through the fourth down, just kind of how that goes between you and Marcus when you get the touchdown? So I think it's 4th and 14. How quickly you guys and how the communication goes, are we going to go for this? Are we going to field goal? Yeah,
third down. Before we even approached third down, I let him know it's just 2-down territory. A couple things. There was a strong wind. You know, Adam Stack had been hurt, even though Zach did a great job. But even more so, we just felt that we were calling good plays. We were getting guys open. We just weren't connecting. And I'm never going to say good throw, bad drop, or whatever. We just weren't connecting on they were giving us exactly what we thought they would give us. The coverage dictated us to run, you know, what we run with Jalen, where he kind of splits the seam and tries to get behind the Mike linebacker. We had the mismatch, and we felt we'd get it again on 4th down. So, you know, was almost irrelevant to down and distance here. You want to take a shot at that play because of what we were getting. So we did, and it worked out well.
Pertaining to the running backs, how do you kind of decide which ones to put in? Is there a certain situation that you feel works best with some backs, or is it more of a rotation style?
A little bit more of a rotation style, starting with TBJ. And then after that, those guys were very even throughout camp. The separation took place mostly due to injury. You know, CJ had gone down. Travis had gone down for a little bit. Taj does a lot of things really good. As you know, he's better off in the open space stuff, the stuff where you can create some air and have some mismatches, some one-on-one stuff for the screen pass, which he hit. Cyrus is proven that he's a very versatile back. You know, we wanted to use him in some of the short yardage stuff and some of the goal line stuff. But what you see there, he made that Sam linebacker miss. He's got really good hips and instincts and vision. So he's more than just a short yardage guy, a goal line guy, and he proved that on Saturday. So the rotation was dictated by productivity in camp. Okay, some of the injuries factored into it because some guys made it all the way through camp and some guys didn't, but bounced back enough to play. So that pretty much sums it up. There's nothing complex about it. But I know this. Look, if you're productive and you're proving it in practice, you're going to play. And it really doesn't discriminate as to your year here, you know, what you played in high school or whatnot. If you're doing a really good job at your position, we're going to find ways to get you on the field. And I think that position more than any other one is the one that has shown a significant amount of guys that can help us win football games. And we got to get them all ready to play. All right. None of them are big guys. None of them are 225, 235-pound guys that can go the 45, 50 carries a game. So that being the case, we're going to get them all ready.
Coach, I think you played 10 true freshmen. I wonder, just kind of on review, kind of what you saw from those guys, and if any of those guys in particular kind of jumped out on film.
Well, the first one jumps out is Panay. You know, he popped in there at left tackle. He's never played left tackle before. And during camp, we were flopping him and Throckmorton and George Moore and Brady Aiello out there, and he just stood out as a guy that flashes tremendous potential, but he's more than just potential. He's doing it now. He's playing beyond his years with a physicality that's hard to match. So, you know, he certainly stood out. You saw we talked about the freshman running backs that have played. We played some young guys. Brian Addison got himself some snaps out there. I like to say Kano's a new guy. Kano's about 36 years old, you know, but he's new here at Oregon. Isaac Slade, great to see him out there, right? Javon Holland, I mean, really stood out as a guy that can run the alley, can cover down. A really dynamic football player, really is. Popo got his first action, as a redshirt freshman. I think the list goes on and on. We saw, what's his name? Gosh, we got so many guys that played for us at linebacker. Again, we had Adrian Jackson get a significant amount of snaps as well. It was great to see even some of the sophomores as well. Failed to mention Keith Sims. Keith Sims played about 42 snaps at outside linebacker and played extremely well on special teams. Was our special teams player of the week, along with Zach Emerson. So a lot of guys have received some meaningful playing time, and we want to, as long as they've earned it, we want to continue to do so and help develop our football team.
There's at least one analytics website that said Shane Lemieux was their highest graded player offensively in the country, regardless of position. How'd Shane grade out for you guys?
He graded out well. I ought to just call them in the morning instead of staying up till 4 in the morning and grading myself. Then they make it a lot easier. Shane is he's a special guy. That entire offensive line is made up of special individuals that just come together as one. And they always talk about it, 5 coming together as one. He's physical. He's relentless. Tremendous amount of pride. And I think the best thing that they bring to the table is those guys, they treat the week and their preparation and everything just like a pro. They're pros about their approach to everything they do. Tremendous example for our young guys. And Coach Mirabal made a great point in the meeting telling those young guys, you got to take advantage of this unbelievable opportunity to watch how these older guys approach game week, how they approach their film study, how they take care of their bodies. They're finding time in the tubs. They're putting on those Nassau moon boots, whatever they had down in the training room, and get their legs up to get all that lactic acid out of their legs. It's a joy to be around him, and he's certainly one of our team leaders, and he showed it on Saturday.
Right here on the left, Alec.
There were a lot of drop passes during the game on Saturday. Was that something you kind of attribute to first game jitters, or was that something going into the game you thought might be a problem?
I would say we have to catch the ball. I don't think you can attribute it to jitters. We had some jitters. It's obvious, a couple times at the running back position we went the wrong way, right? A couple guys. We didn't have any flinching issues, from a penalty standpoint. We didn't have any illegal procedures or stuff of that nature. But I don't think it's that. I think these guys are competitors. I know that, and we all know, and they know that they have to catch the football, especially with big plays opportunities like we had. Part of it is focus, part of it is technique, and part of it is just getting it done. And the most important part for us as coaches is making sure that we're doing things to help them find the ways to be successful and put away that not only catch it but secure it. I think I don't think you gain much value in just getting upset and raising your voice at someone for dropping the ball. I used to love that in high school. I actually played tight end for a second, and I used to drop a ball. I say, "Catch the ball." I go, "Well, it's a good coaching point. Thanks, man. I'll take that one home with me. That's awesome." So, for us, the goal is always zero drops. So there's a lot of pride in that room, and we'll work at it more and more and more, understanding that, these big play opportunities, they just don't come all the time. You rarely get a second chance. So it's going to obviously be a huge point of emphasis. It has been, but it has to be more. We got to have better results.
On the right, Steve.
Facing a FCS team that just gave up 70, when your team comes in this week, how do you message, focus them? What do you do to them kind of early on to make sure that that they, are ready for a team that's going to come in here as a pretty heavy underdog that obviously isn't going to look great on the film that you got them from the first game?
Yeah, the messaging is really the truth of the matter. The truth of the matter is that we had some really good play on Saturday, but we also have some very not so great play on Saturday that we can improve upon. And it's for us, to be the team that we've always talked about, the team that we've trained to be, the things that we've done since last January to become that team, all really relates to how we approach it ourselves, how we make our decisions to improve ourselves, because there's nothing that showed up on tape on Saturday that is not correctable. There's nothing that we showed on tape on Saturday that we can't take to a higher standard. And it's always going to start and end with that, regardless of the opponent. So I think that has to be the focus. I think the focus also has to be the fact that Portland State has done a tremendous job. Last year, in the last couple of years, it's easy to get online and find out that they beat Washington State. and that they beat North Texas, right? And that last year, Oregon State had to drive down on the final drive to score and win that game. And that their head coach is now calling the plays again. And when he was calling the plays, they were a really good football team. And they showed it in the way they were moving the ball this past Saturday. And also the fact that hiring a new defensive coordinator, we're about to see that flex stack defense, which they call it, which is a scheme that we have never seen and have not practiced against. And even though it gave up a lot of big plays on Saturday, it also made a lot of big plays. And I believe the score was 9-0 early, if I'm not mistaken, but they had jumped out to a good start just by creating chaos and causing confusion at the line of scrimmage, creating negative plays. So we have a tremendous amount of respect for them and everybody that we play. We've studied them relentlessly since we finished our game on Saturday. So our guys are looking forward to getting back in Autzen and continuing to get better as a football team.
Just the early kickoff time, how does that impact your game day routine, if at all?
Gosh, at the hours that we get up, the coaches aren't impacted, right? We're up early. For the players, I think it's a great thing to get up and hit the ground running. I do. You always worry about, I say don't worry about, but there's always, whenever there's idle time, you want to make sure that it's littered with meetings and with film sessions and study and walkthroughs or whatnot. This is a scenario where you wake up and you put down your pregame meal, you go to your walkthrough and hit the movie projector to watch the highlight film, and let's go play football. So the thing that our guys have been talking about, they were so fired up about the crowd on Saturday and how much energy and juice that was brought to the table. A lot of guys are first time in Autzen, so they weren't sure what to expect, and they got a great dose of how energizing our home crowd can be. So that's the part I think that everyone has at the forefront of their mind. We want to make sure that we do a great job in front of our fans and make them proud of our football team.
Midway back on the right, Hayden.
Someone that's probably energized any hour of the day. Coach Feld, he was hard to miss on the sideline. What have you told him about what his role is on game days as far as amping up the student athletes?
Well, motivation is part of every coach's obligation. And he's got a really tight bond with our players, as does the rest of our strength staff. So you'll see that they're constantly up and down the sidelines, making sure that no coaches are on the field. That's the first thing. You'll see him and the rest of the guys yanking us back like a WWE wrestler, right? Trying to pull a vertical souffle on you, just yanking us back, making sure we don't get a penalty. But the other part is making sure that we're locked in. We have a lot of young guys that are playing. We dress a lot of guys. We believe that if you've gone through camp, that you've worked hard, you've sweated, you've battled with our guys, that you have earned the honor and the privilege to dress out in pads and run out the stadium tunnel for the rest of our guys. So because there is a lot of youth on our sidelines, it's important to be vigilant. It's important that we're always having teaching moments with our guys. The importance of having a unified sideline, an energized sideline, guys dialed in and focused. That's part of their job, and it's something that's just a carryover from the summer, because that energy and enthusiasm was real all summer. It's carried over right to the beginning of the season.
We have time for two more. Warren in the front right here.
Coach, you talked about the film watch. What were some of those things that you noticed that immediately jumped out at you that you want to see improved, and maybe some things that you saw that you really liked? And significant improvement from game one to game two. We hear that a lot from coaches. Is there a lot of improvement from game one to game two?
Well, I think the first thing we want to see, we want to start faster. I think there's a tremendous lesson, and I know I use that word a lot, but it is one of my favorite words because of my high school coach. Tremendous. There's a tremendous lesson in being down, right? Being down like we were, and just get going and getting in gear and getting in sync and responding the way we did. I would like to look at statistics. I don't know if we did that last year. I don't know if that ever happened. I don't know if we were down 10-0 and came back and played strong, especially in the second and the third quarter. So you want to see that. You want to see the elimination of the mental errors that should never ever be an issue. Going the wrong way at tailback, all right? Making sure that we're completely on point with our line calls, our IDs at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. We had a substitution error on defense. That can never happen, all right? We want that thing out. We had 10 men on the field in a situation that we need to go over. We had a guy get injured and was down, but while he was down, another guy had an equipment issue. So -1 quickly became -2, and all of a sudden we were caught in a situation, whoa, how did this happen? They're about to run a play. We got to run a guy out there, and we get flagged. That's on coaching. That's on us. Want to see us. We want to see us get more explosive runs, and I want to see us stop and defend the run better early. I think as the game went on, we did a much better job from a yards per carry, run efficiency standpoint, holding up on defense. I thought that was excellent. I thought coming out in the third quarter, the second half, to start the second half, the pick six was big. That was a huge point of emphasis for us over the summers, making sure that we start the second half quickly, and we did with a pick six, and with the pass for the touchdown. So those are things that we felt we improved upon. The penalty situation obviously got better. We really should have left the game with one penalty. We got sloppy there at the end with the hit on the fair catch call, and then we had a pass interference offensively where we got to teach it better. We teach the tight ends to be physical on second-level defenders, and he was physical, and he ran a really good route, but, probably went a little bit over the edge on it, and, we'll take an aggressive penalty like that because we could teach off of it. Special teams-wise, coverage units were much better. We want to continue along the lines of that. I mean, their starting point after a kickoff was a 16-plus yard line. That's significantly better than last year, but our return game has to be better. We were about 1 to 2 blocks away on kickoff return from having some really big plays. Yesterday was a big fundamental day as it relates to getting your drops, getting your leverage, half position, angles, all the little things that can result in much better play on both kickoff return and on punt return. Aside from that is we do want to raise the standard. We want to elevate the standard, I should say, of the way we play in terms of effort, almost to a point where it's almost unreachable. You have to be elite to get there. But that is a standard to which we want to hold ourselves to as a program. Our players welcome that challenge. So we certainly want to add, or I should say, elevate that aspect of our game.
In the back, last question, Raul.
Is there anything that you can or that you've seen in the team on Saturday that kind of attributed to that slow start? Was there anything that was noticeable? Do you feel like the team was just a little over anxious or anything like that?
No, I just think it's football. I think when you look around the country you look at some of the games that kind of went completely opposite to the way perception thought they would go, and some teams that didn't bounce back. I give credit to Bowling Green for scheming up the run game like they did. Really good job with that off tight end as a sniffer where he entered on the backside, the front side, full block in the backside, 4-eye as well to find some good chunk plays in there. That's good scheming, and after a series, there's an adjustment made to it, but they did a nice job early. We have to start fast. When I say start fast, not necessarily make a huge play, but making sure that our juice and energy is good so we can connect on some of the plays that we design. We have a chance right away to get up 7-0, right? And that doesn't happen. And, yeah, you need to make that happen. You want to make that happen. But if it doesn't, we need to respond the way we did in drive 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, right? Where you go 5 straight drives and you score a touchdown with the longest drive lasting, I believe, 2 minutes and 40 seconds, the shortest one being 35 seconds. We have those kind of capabilities. We want to continue to explore different ways to get the ball in the hands of our playmakers because that's what energizes our team. If you notice, our team, the offense feeds off the defense and the vice versa, okay? And that's what really probably one of the biggest changes is our team, as it comes together more and more, they feed off of each other. And I told them, look, anytime you win a football game, you're pretty proud of it, but we also know that we have a lot more, like so to say, meat on the bone that we can go and get. We have a lot of things that we can be better at and will be better at, and that's a commitment to doing things at a different level.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay, guys, thank you very much. Have a good one.